The European Sovereign Nations Party, the most far-right party in the European Parliament, consisting of parties like, well, the AfD, are potentially facing a ban on the European level. Now, I'm really not a fan of banning parties either on the European level or also on the national level. And that is something I will get into in the opinion section. But to really understand what this ban is all about and what it will mean for European politics, let's first have a quick look at the European Parliament today. And as you can see on my right, the European Parliament is made out of 8 factions, or in Brussels terminology, 8 political groups. And on the very left, you have the far left in the European Parliament. Next to them, you have the left-wing Greens, followed by the center-left S&D. There's the centrist Liberal Renew Europe, followed by the EPP. They're center-right and are the largest group in the European Parliament, followed by the more conservative and right-wing ECR. And then you have the Patriots for Europe, far right, and then even more far right, you have the European Sovereign Nations. And these political groups sit together in the parliament, negotiate certain laws, and generally vote together. Now, of course, at first glance, you might be like, so this ESN group right here in the parliament is the one facing a ban. And I wish that was the case, and I wish it was that easy. But no, this is the European Sovereign Nation group. And we're actually talking about the European Sovereign Nations Party. Now, how this all fits together, you can see in this visual right here. At the top, you have the political group. These are the parliamentary factions inside the European Parliament where, MEPs organize themselves to vote and work together. Then you have the European political parties. These are broader alliances of national parties from different EU countries, recognized and funded at the European level. And finally, you have the national parties. These are the actual political parties that run in national elections inside each member state, like the AfD in Germany, Revival in Bulgaria, or New Hope in Poland. If we zoom in to the ESN a little more, you can see how the structure works. First, you have the ESN political group inside the European Parliament, which currently has 27 MEPs. Then, there's a European political party itself. That European party is made up of 8 national parties, with Germany's AfD being by far the largest and most influential member. There's also one other party that cooperates with the ESN group in the European Parliament, and that is Italy's National Future. But they are not part of the official European party structure. And this distinction matters, because the investigation would mainly target the European political party, not the parliamentary group or the national party themselves. So if ESN lost its EU recognition, the group in parliament could still continue to exist, but the European Party would lose access to EU funding, which is estimated to be around 2 million euros per year. But now, to the very key question of this entire video. Why does the EU watchdog even want to ban the ESN? The EU has a watchdog for European political parties called the Authority for European Political Parties and Foundations. And according to reports, its director, Pascal Schonard, has compiled a 300-page file arguing that ESN may violate the EU's basic values. Human dignity, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and minority rights. And Pascal Schonard is accusing the ESN of anti-Semitism, anti-LGBT rhetoric, anti-immigration extremism, and also support for the so-called remigration concept. And for those that don't know what remigration is, this video right here explains it very well and is endorsed by many of these far-right politicians.
We are demanding of the European Commission to install a total and full halt on non-Western immigration, both legal and illegal. From now on, no one comes in and millions go out.
Yeah, a pretty extreme video, and if you want to see the whole thing, you can click on the link below. But the report also highlights other problems. For example, in Poland, a politician from New Hope posted that Israel is not just a criminal state, and that Israelis are basically a nation of criminals. The party then apparently reportedly reposted it. Or take Bulgaria's Revival Party. The EU watchdog accuses that party of maintaining close ties with Vladimir Putin's United Russia Party, and also in participating in violent anti-government protests in Sofia, and being linked to attacks on the European Commission's offices in Bulgaria in 2025. And then there's Germany, where the file points to the AfD being classified by Germany's domestic intelligence agency as a right-wing extremist movement in 2025. So, what happens now? Will the ESN party actually be banned? Right now, this is just the beginning of the process. The EU watchdog has reportedly asked the European Parliament, the Commission, and the Council to open a formal review into ESN. This is a step we are currently on, and maybe we will know more next week about what these institutions think about this initiative. And if one of them agrees, the watchdog would investigate the case. ESN would get a chance to respond, and then independent expert committee would give its opinion. The watchdog could then decide whether ESN should lose its status as an official European political party. Now, on to my opinion, and to be very honest with you, I think banning European parties or even national parties like the AfD in Germany, for example, is a very bad idea. I think parties such as this can only be punished by the voter and should not be punished by an institution, let alone getting banned by an institution. I really think that will erode trust in our democratic system throughout Europe and in Germany. Other parties, like the mainstream CDU in Germany, for example, or the SPD, or on a European level, the EPP and the S&D and the Liberals, etc., they need to fight for stronger and better ideas to win over the voters, not to join or agree with this EU watchdog that these kind of parties need to be banned. I think this will disenfranchise the voter even more, especially the voter that voted for these parties. The AfD is currently at 29%, I think it was, in Germany. If you start banning that, you're basically telling 29% of voters, your vote doesn't matter. And I think that's the wrong precedent. But we did talk about this quite a lot in the EU Made Simple team. And we did ask ourselves the question, should we just do nothing then? If extreme parties on either the left and the right, or even politicians in the center, say ridiculous things that are just plainly insulting and go against all the values that we stand for example, anti-Semitism, for example, racism and topics like that. Should we just let it go? And our answer to that was, well, no. But we shouldn't go as far as banning the party. But what we could do is that we could make these individuals in these parties responsible for their actions. And we were thinking of financial fines maybe, or maybe even being banned from sitting in parliamentary sessions for a certain amount of time. Maybe rules around that, which should affect all parties, not just extreme right parties, would work out better than looking at all of this banning stuff for these parties. Anyway, those are just some ideas. And please do let us know in the comments what you think about this topic and what you think should be done. And also, a big announcement from EU Made Simple. We've actually grown our team. We're now 4 people. 3 here in Munich and 1 in Romania, working on English, German, Romanian videos, and trying to give you more content over the next years to come. And for that, we want to ask for your help. If you could sign up to Patreon or YouTube memberships for just a couple of euros per month, you would help us immensely continuing to create our content on a more regular basis. We would love that, and we really appreciate all the help from all the presidents we have already. Thank you so much for watching, and see everyone in the next video.